Oxford setting new standards in firefighting, library expenses to understand, and yes, they did it. All that and more, the Oxford News begins right now. If you're in need of glasses and cannot afford an exam, the American Legion Post 108 is opening its doors to anyone who needs eye and vision care this Saturday, November 6th, between 9 and 3 p.m. Folks can receive a comprehensive eye exam free of charge. The event is sponsored by Drs. Ann Natchizel and Jamie Aragones of the Michigan Society of Eye Physicians and Surgeons. The group of ophthalmologists and technician students will evaluate vision and check eyes for diseases such as glaucoma, cataracts, retinopathy, macular degeneration, and amblyopia. Walk-ins are welcome, but it may be easier if you schedule an appointment by calling the Post at 248-628-9081. Those who wear glasses and or take medications are asked to bring them with them at the exam. Post 108 is located at 130 East Drainer Road. Jim?
The Oxford School Board wants to resolve conflict between the Oakland County Health Division and the school mask mandate, Public Act 87, which prohibits local health departments from requiring anyone under the age of 18 to wear a mask, or they will lose funding. The board passed a resolution at the Oxford Middle School October 19th, officially requesting reconciliation from the governor's office and the county by October 29th, which was last week. As of the broadcast, no answer from the board will be put forth a motion to allow Oxford Community Schools to transition back to planned process procedures. They were developed prior to the mask mandate being implemented. The resolution states the Oxford Community Schools District will strongly recommend that wearing a mask, but will allow each family to determine what is right for them. If the motion is passed, this change will be effective on the day after the board's affirmative vote. The resolution passed 5-1. Trustee Barry Hanser cast the dissenting vote. Trustee Dan D'Alessandro was absent at the meeting. This follows a resolution from the week earlier requesting Oxford State Representative Attorney General Dana Nessel for a legal opinion on the matter. The school board has not heard back from the AG's office. Again, we will update when we find out as well. Terry.
$9 million buys a lot, and the Oxford Library Board is asking voters to approve a $9 million bond in order to improve the existing library building. And that's on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So you're only going to see this news, and it's only going to apply one day, November 2nd. The board asked to approve an improvement plan that does not require easements from the school and will include expansion of the youth services. Parking will be expanded towards Pontiac Street. In addition, adult services will include an expansion as well as community service room. Library Director Brian Cloutier said even though the community is coming out of the pandemic, these plans have been in the works for over 10 years, and the timing to borrow money is now because the interest rate is right. Additionally, he says the board did not want to borrow money for the expansion service until the building's original loan was paid off, which is also now. Jim?
Work to connect a 5-mile loop of safety paths and sidewalks started back at a meeting Monday, October 18th. The final section of the loop, a 1,600-foot safety path along Dunlop Road between West Bay Shore Drive and Market Street, will connect established footpaths in the Oxford Township and Village. The route consists of 2 loops, a 5-mile route that goes into the village and a shorter route that cuts along Waterstone. Total cost in the final stretch is just over $112,000, about $102,000 coming from from the construction by the Oxford-based Birmingham Seal Coat. $50,000 is being covered through the grant from the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan. Some notable locations along the route include Pollyant Trail, offices for both Oxford Township and Oxford Village and Townships of Oakland County Sheriff's Office substation. Again, a nice way to connect all the paths. Terry?
It looks like it's becoming a reality. The Village of Oxford will be the home of its first marijuana retailer, with a recent site plan approval from the Village Planning Commission. Already established in Walled Lake, Loom Cannabis Company will open its retail doors at 595 South Gillespie Street with 3 shifts of 8 employees working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Not to worry about crime, though. There will be no growing or processing on site. Deliveries will happen outside of business hours by a 2-axle van, and security cameras will be around the building parking lot. Jim?
As part of the Oxford Township Facebook page, it kind of inspired us as well to cover this story. Oxford Township is extremely proud of its female firefighters, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians. Every day, they protect lives and property while working in a male-dominated field. These strong women are not only putting themselves at risk to keep our community safe, they're also knocking down stereotypes and providing positive role models for females of all ages. Oxford Township is saluting these brave and selfless women by featuring them again on their Facebook page. If you want a more detailed look at that, check it out. This week, they're featuring Amanda Richardson, a paid-on-call EMT who joined the department earlier in the year. Amanda is a lifelong resident of Oxford. She attended Daniel Oxford Elementary, and also graduated from Oxford High School back in 2021. Amanda's interest in joining the fire service was sparked by the participation in the EMT education program, part of the Oxford School District Health Science Career and Technical Education Program. Check again the Oxford Township Facebook page. There's a complete detail on more on this story. I urge you to check it out. Terry.
It is not all catching bad guys and fighting fires when it comes to the Oakland County Sheriff deputies in our community. Last weekend, deputies and the Oxford Fire Department partnered up to hand out goodies to kids in costume during a trunk or treat event at Clear Lake Elementary School. In spite of rain, everybody had a great time. The Oxford Township Parks and Recreation also had some fun, selling more than 100 tickets to the Jack-O-Lantern Jamboree held at Seymour Lake Township Park. That was last week, and on Halloween, the Village of Oxford saw hordes of masked kiddos crowding the sidewalks for a chance to trick or treat their hosts. It was a fun-filled week in Oxford and Addison Township for sure. Jim?
The Oxford Free Methodist Church turned 100 years old just about a week ago. The church celebrated its centennial by having a fall festival, according to the history of the church provided by, I would say, Gillette. Oxford Free Methodist Church has roots in Hadley. The church formed back in the 1870s, a Brandon church formed in the 1880s, and a group formed Brandon Congregants, who held meetings in Oxford throughout the 1900s. The 3 churches merged over to the summer to 1918 and became the first Free Methodist Church of Oxford, officially incorporating under the name October 24th, 1921. The congregation lacked a permanent home in the early days, holding meetings in the congregate homes, storefronts, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The church purchased a lot on Mechanic Street back in 1922. Claude McCallum became the first full-time preacher for the parsonage, was at 82 South Washington on September 11th, 1924, and now is unused. Hadley Church was cut into 4 segments. They towed it by horses in Oxford. The church expanded in the late 1950s, starting with the purchase of the current lot on M24 back in 1957, and a bus 1959, January of 1959. A new church was built on the site back in 1959, holding its first service on December 30th of that year. Another area was built in 1965 on site, and the church was expanded with the construction of the Harold Reichman Memorial Building back back in 1971. The expansion featured classrooms, a gym, a kitchen, and office space. Aside from the Fall Festival, the church has celebrated its centennial. Throughout the year, the church has been broadcasting their services over the Facebook during the pandemic. Again, congratulations on 100 years. That's it for this section of Oxford News this week. I'll be back with sports. Oh yes, you're going to want to tune in for that. Also Dave Kenny and Science in the News. We'll be right back. You are watching Oxford Community Television, Oxford News This Week.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. A new study finds that the average service costs for an electric vehicle after 36 months on the road are a third of the service cost for a gasoline-powered vehicle at the 3-year mark. On average, it's costlier to maintain an EV in its first year than it is to maintain an internal combustion engine vehicle, according to Deep View True Cost data out October 28th from the analytics and data company We Predict. But that switches when the EV hits a 3-year mark. EV owners shell out $123 on average for service when their car is 3 years old, and $306 on average when their car is 1 year old. Gas vehicle owners spend $53 and $189 respectively at those same milestones. At 3 years, this flips. EV service cost average $514, and gasoline vehicle service cost an average of $749. The data shows that maintenance costs are lower, and maintaining an electric engine over the medium to long term is significantly cheaper and less fraught with larger repairs than internal combustion engines, We Predict CEO James Davies told Automotive News. EV owners spend an average of $77 solely on maintenance in their first 3 years of ownership, according to the study. That's less than the average of $228 spent maintaining an internal combustion vehicle in the same period of time. Repair costs for EVs are lower because they have fewer parts than internal combustion vehicles, according to the study. We Predict said its study includes more than 13 million vehicles across 400 models. Results are based on 65 million service or repair orders totaling more than $7.7 billion in parts and $9.5 billion in labor costs, the company said. Calculations included maintenance, unplanned repairs, warranty and recall, service campaigns, diagnostics, software updates, and warranty on factory-installed options. We Predict said costs of gasoline, local and state inspections, seasonal tire changes, and insurance were not included. It's getting more expensive to maintain vehicles, according to the study. Manufacturers' costs to service their vehicles from the 2018 model year averaged $731 in the first 3 years, an 11% increase from 2016 models on the road for the same period of time, We Predict said. Repair costs rose 4%, maintenance 11%, and service campaigns 35%. Because of these reasons, the average service cost for a 2018 premium vehicle grew 18% to $1,513 when compared to their 2016 counterparts. In contrast, average service costs for a 2018 non-premium vehicle grew just 4% to $573 in the same period. Repair expenses also fall more frequently on manufacturers' shoulders, the study found. Manufacturers shelled out an average of $364 per 2018 model year vehicle, 11% more than they paid for 2016 model vehicles. But owners spent an average of $309 on repairs for 2018 vehicles in their first 3 years of ownership, $1 more than what they paid on average for 2016 vehicles. Manufacturers are paying more because of a spike in labor charges, which rose from $168 for a 2016 vehicle to $199 for a 2018 vehicle. Campaign costs have also risen from $84 to $105, according to the study. So reach for the pocketbook. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
Back with you in Oxford News this week, and yes, they did it. Sal Vaccaro will go down as a legend here in Oxford for being a senior running back, scored 4 touchdowns and ran for 250 yards to lead the Wildcats to a 38-28 Division I district semifinal win over number 7 Clarkston this past Friday night. While Oxford 6-4 didn't have the official stats, Vaccaro approached 300 yards on the ground against the Wolves as the Wildcats put up most of the points Clarkston 8-2 had given up all season. While playing in a constant rainstorm, Oxford's coach Zach Line said, now we are quoting him now, "It takes 11 guys to run the ball, and I think if you ask Sal, he would say it's the team's yards. However, he does a great job in his role. He's another guy that just keeps getting better as we have gone. That is, the offensive line has done such a phenomenal job this year. There's nothing fun about that position, especially in the conditions like the one they had the other night. But they just come to work, and you have to love those Hogs up front." Powerhouse Clarkston just didn't have an answer for Vaccaro and Oxford as the Wildcats scored on their first 5 possessions, never trailed after taking a 14-7 lead early in the second quarter. The Oxford win for Oxford avenged the 20-17 loss the Wolves had earlier in the season. Oxford will now look to avenge another regular season loss as it will head to Rochester Adams for the district championship next week. The Wildcats did suffer a loss to them early on in the season, 24-10. The Highlanders will be week 2, and it may be off to the races to the finals. Again, Oxford football doing very well, beating powerhouse, of course, the Clarkston Wolves. That's going to wrap it in sports. We will come back. Dave Kenny's got something for you. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Seeds discovered at an ancient campsite in Nevada indicate people have been using tobacco for at least 12,300 years, which is far longer than previously thought. Tobacco plants are native to North America, and humans are thought to have reached the continent around 20,000 to 16,000 years ago. This suggests that people learned the intoxicant property of tobacco relatively early in their time here rather than only with domestication and agriculture thousands of years later, says Darren Duke at the Far Western Anthropological Research Group in Nevada. Duke and his colleagues reached this conclusion after discovering 4 charred tobacco seeds, each less than a millimeter wide, preserved under sediment in the remains of a fire at the Wishbone campsite in Nevada, which was first discovered in 2015. The team retrieved burnt wood from the ash and used radiocarbon dating to estimate its age at 12,300 years, making the seeds the earliest evidence for tobacco usage by humans. Before this discovery, the oldest traces of nicotine were found in a 3,000-year-old smoking pipe from a site in Alabama. The tobacco seeds were the big surprise. They are incredibly small and rare to be preserved, says Duke. The team think that indigenous people may have smoked and sucked tobacco at the fireside along activities such as food preparation, cooking, and tool making. We don't know what people at the Wishbone site thought about tobacco, but its fireside use is something easy to identify as a human being, says Duke. People at Wishbone could have harvested tobacco leaves and stems, as these parts contain nicotine, and made them into wads of plant fiber called quids for sucking. The seeds, which don't contain nicotine, have been picked up during the harvest, then discarded in the fire once finished, the team speculates. Quids have been previously found to be used by indigenous communities in this region. Quids are sometimes akin to pouch tobacco placed behind the lip and then discarded when done. Of course, smoking was surely possible too, says Duke. The team also found bones from various duck species, but ruled out the possibility that the seeds were from the stomachs of cooked birds. Ducks don't eat tobacco, which is toxic to them as it is to most predators, says Duke. Another possibility is that the tobacco plants were used to fuel the fire, but tobacco burns quickly, making it a poor fuel source. The team couldn't find any traces of ancient tobacco in nearby areas of a similar age to the discovery site, providing further evidence that humans gathered tobacco from elsewhere. The findings suggest that tobacco usage may have formed the basis for human manipulation of other plants and may be a key component of the development of agriculture in North America, says Elizabeth Bulwark at the International Study for Jefferson Center for Jefferson Studies, Monticello. Where there's smoke, there's probably tobacco. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
Back with you in Oxford News this week. Another news in the bank, and I have a question. It's been here all during the newscast. What is this? What is this, Terry?
This is the new directory that the chamber put out.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool. It was out here because Deb and I did Daybreak the other day.
Oh, okay.
And so I left it here on the desk. But
That's cool. I was thumbing through it.
It's an amazing book. It's got all the chamber members in there.
Can I have this?
And pictures. You can have this. It's got pictures of OCTV in here.
Oh,
in the
nice.
middle, it's great for new people in the community, but in the middle of the book, of course, I can't find
map.
it. So yeah, there's a whole map of Oxford.
So where now, if I wanted
Pretty
this
cool.
book, where would I go get this book?
We have them here. The township has them there.
Okay.
I think the village has some. There may be some at the library, but also at the chamber. And then everybody that's new in the community gets a welcome bag from the township.
And there's like addresses and everything in the back.
Yeah.
Here. Like you can
It's
find
pretty
out.
amazing.
And look, they have it like home improvement. I guess. Well,
Sure.
I'm telling you, you already know. Okay.
It's under categories. But the cool thing is,
Get a few of these.
you can go through that book and not know that the thing that you have in mind, we actually have that business here in the community. There's a lot of businesses that I was like, gosh, I had no idea we had one that close.
And all you need is this book right by the.
It's a cool
well, I don't
book.
even know you store it, but get a few of them.
Well done, too. It's really a nice book.
You know what they should do is they should store these. You ever go to those rest areas up on 75?
Oh,
Put a
good
few in there and
idea.
plunk, but I don't know. You know, it is what it is, right?
That's a good idea. Anyhow, so if you want one of those books, I think it's really cool. I mean, it's nice to look things up on the internet, but this way you know what's in the community, what kind of businesses that you can shop local, because I'm going to really start pushing that, especially with all those cargo ships that are stuck out in the ocean right now. I'm going to really start pushing shop local for Christmas. And we had like a birthday the other day for a little kid. It was so nice to just go to Funky Monkey. The toy is there. You're not going to worry about whether you're ordering it and it's going to make it on time.
Right, no doubt.
We only have a certain amount of time before Christmas. At any rate, thanks for watching Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, you can go to our website, which is OCCTV.org, 2 C's, or you can catch us on Charter Channel 191, AT&T Channel 99. You can also catch us on our Facebook page, Oxford Community Television Facebook, or same for YouTube. You can also go to the Oxford Leader newspaper. Thanks to Jim Hanlon for the stories.
Check our book out.
You can check the book out. We're in there. And CJ Carnacchio really keeps the community up to date on the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page.
Right.
I think I got everything.
I think you did, and one thing about the article, where we got the article in regards to the firefighters, what a great idea of highlighting the female
Featuring
firefighters.
women,
They're going to be doing that. I urge you to go to their Facebook page just to read the rest of that story if you can.
It's so cool.
Anyways, that's going to wrap it here for me. I'm Jim Hughes with Terry Stiles. We want to thank Dan in the back, where we actually do bring your news closer to home. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you down the road.
Bye-bye.